and of course the chevrons as well. And for these, just start in the middle with
No,
a straight line
no,
round about.
no, don't paint chevrons on by hand. That's a decimation right there, Duncan. I expect better of you, my friend. Okay, yes, so welcome back everyone to another episode where I talk about people trying to paint Iron Warriors and all the mistakes they make trying to do the Iron Warriors justice, the Sons of Perturabo, the 4th Legion, the best legion of Space Marines, because there are many, many pitfalls that people seem to fall into. So I thought, why don't we go back to basics and why don't we see how Games Workshop wants you to paint Iron Warriors, right? So this was a video that they uploaded about 4 years ago, and it features none other than the painting wunderkind that is Duncan Rhodes of the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy. So go on, let's see, how does he paint Iron Warriors? As always, great production values as always from Games Workshop, as you'd expect. Straight away, just looking at this model though, that's a dark model, right? That is not... There's not much highlighting going on there, but this is a speed paint video, so let's just see what a speed paint looks like, right?
David Brayhart has emailed in to ask us how to speed paint Iron Warriors Chaos Space Marines. So today we're going to show you a fantastic method of doing this that gives a really dark and gritty colour scheme which is perfect for these Sons of Perturabo. Now to do this colour scheme, what you need to do is start out from an undercoat of lead belcher spray, which you can see is what I've done for my example model.
Okay, so instead of black or brown base and then silver over the top, literally just spray silver. I'm not a fan, but we're going for a speed paint here, aren't we? So that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Just here. And the colours you're going to need are Null Oil, followed by Avalan Sunset. You're also going to need Seraphim Sepia and Reikland Flesh Shade. After that, you'll need Abaddon Black, Evil Sun Scarlet, and also Rakarth Flesh as well.
And if that's it, if that's your entire palette for painting the Iron Warriors, that is perfectly fine, because you know what? There's a lot of colour there, there's a lot of variation, and immediately you can see how he's planning on doing the hazard stripes, you can see how he's planning on detailing this, and it's not just going to be bolt metal with some hazard stripes and that's it. There's going to be browns, there's going to be reds.
But we're going to be starting out with Null Oil, which I'm going to be applying using a medium shade brush. And as always, you want to use your palette here to help control exactly how much paint you're applying at once. So get a good little dollop on the palette like this, then load up your brush, and all you've got to do is start applying this all over your miniature. So you want to make sure it settles nicely in all the recessed detail, and you get it into all those nooks and crannies. So don't be afraid.
Like this is always something that gets me whenever people do speed painting. They will do layers of wash for all the different layers of paint, and you think, that's fine, but if you're trying to do this quick, why not just do one layer of wash over everything? So get all the silvers, golds, reds, pinks, blues, greens, whatever, get all the different layers and all the different textures picked out first in a base layer, and then just Null Oil over the whole thing.
Don't be afraid to be generous as you apply this. Once that shade is completely dry, you're then ready to pick any panels that you want to have chevrons on later on and base coat them using Avalan Sunset using a medium base brush. And for my example, I'm going to go for this shoulder pad here. Once you've finished blocking out those sections with Avalan Sunset, you're then ready to return to Null Oil to apply a second coat of it all over the armour once more, a little bit thinner than before.
That's really dark now. That is really dark. I know one technique you can do if you want just a really dark metal is to honestly use the, I think it's called Chaos Black, or it might be Black Templar, the speed paint, the whatever they're called, wash paints, I've genuinely forgotten the name, but you can use that instead because it's the equivalent of 2 layers or 3 layers of Null Oil just straight onto a surface.
Once that shade is completely dry, we can now move on to
contrast
We're going to
paints.
start out with Seraphim Sepia applied using a medium layer brush. And what you want to do is just paint this onto the panels all the way around like this so the colour starts to stain that trim. Now I want the colour to be a little bit stronger, so once this first coat is dry, apply a second thin coat in exactly the same way.
Oh my god, that's, you can barely see that though. You can barely see that. So you've just gone over the entire model twice with another wash. So these metal panels are being washed 4 times, and you can't see that difference. That is so minor. You could have just done the same thing with just a different coloured metal like a Stormcast Gold or whatever it's called, right? Just a gold paint or a brass paint or a bronze paint, just go over the trim and that's it. You do a wash over the top of that and it would stand out way better than this.
And once you finish those 2 coats of Seraphim Sepia, then repeat them with a single coat of Reikland Flesh Shade, again applied using
A 5th wash.
And with that shade also dry, we can now move on to base coating all the details that require a Baden black. And there's a few details to do here. First of all, we need to paint the casing on the bolt gun, but also you need to look out for the joints in the armour, any fabric, any pipes, and of course the chevrons as well. And for these, just start in the middle with a straight line
No, don't paint chevrons on by hand. Oh my god, that's so bad. Boys and girls, come on, you know better than this, my brothers. If you're painting hazard stripes, you do it with tape, okay? Unless you've got really fine precision with your brush, you don't just use a paintbrush and slop it on, because you're not going to get nice, equally width bands going across in a pattern, an alternating pattern of yellow and black. You can't just do it with a paintbrush.
Here for this shoulder pad, and then use this as a guideline.
Oh, that's bad. Duncan.
We now just have a few small details left to do, and first of all we need to paint in the eyes using Evil Sun Scarlet. And for this we recommend using a small airbrush and just being as neat as you can as you paint the raised area of the lens. And finally, use Rakarth Flesh to pick out any bone details, for example this small claw that we've got down here. And with that, this Iron Warrior is now ready to be based. Now for a really dark colour scheme like this, we do recommend you go for a lighter basing colour. For example, a Grellan Badland is an excellent choice for a model like this. But David, I really hope this helps you out when you're painting your Iron Warrior's army, and we'll see you all again soon.
And that's it, and then they just end the video there. You don't use 5 layers of washes on a model. That's so wasteful for what could be achieved with any other metal paint, any other, and there's no highlights on the metals either, so it's just a really dark black model to look at. And you'll notice they don't show you any other shots of the shoulder pads after the hazard stripes were painted on, so we've only got this one front angle to look at, but you can guarantee the widths are just going like this all the way across. Duncan, my man, this is not the way to do Iron Warriors, and you know it. 5 washes of paint. 5 washes. And this is speed painting. Picking out trim is hard at the best of times. It takes a lot of time at the best of times. And you're telling someone to pick out the trim 5 times. 5 times. And hand painting on the hazard stripes? Duncan. Oh, even the bone detail at the end, you didn't even put a wash over that. That's just 1 layer of paint. That's a decimation right there, Duncan. I expect better of you, my friend. Absolutely decimated. That is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, you guys. That is not how you do Iron Warriors. I expect better from you, Games Workshop. I do.